Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about mobile device hacking, especially different types of mobile platforms, what tools we're going to be using, what is the history behind mobile devices, and first of all, and most importantly, we're going to talk about what does mobile device mean and how we can definitely find a way into different devices like that. Moving forward, let's see a definition of mobile device. This is a handheld tablet or other device that is made for portability and therefore both lightweight and compact. New data storage, display technologies, data processing have allowed those little devices to do nearly anything that had previously been done by the use of larger personal computers. So we are talking about small device and we're talking about large variety of functions that will cover the stuff that a normal personal computer would do. Mobile devices, as we already said, are also known as handheld computers. Now, moving forward, looking a little more in depth, we can say that primary class of devices um, became known as PDAs, personal digital assistants. Those were uh, those were the mobile devices that were marketed firstly uh, worldwide. They were actually named PDAs, and many of those shared common features. Those features include touchscreen interface, color display, linking to email and desktop programs, access to wireless platforms, and etc. As the wireless networks evolved, we can say that makers, the huge companies, started to offer different class of such devices, mobile devices, and they were called smartphones. Those smartphones actually combined the utility of a cell phone and PDA into one simple device. Now, most cell phone providers offer different variety of smartphones. So here we are looking at evolution. We're looking at more compatibility. These days you have the ability to do everything from your smartphone directly once you get hooked up to a wireless network or you're using mobile data just or home wi-fi, company wi-fi, whatever it is. You just hook to the internet and you can do all kinds of stuff. You can actually install different hacking linux based distributions or tools that will actually allow you to use mobile device such as tablet for ethical hacking engagement, for example. And you can use your phone. There are plenty of different tools, scanners, things that will help you get even a command line window just for running some stuff, checking stuff. As you know, Android devices, they're Linux based. So you can do a lot of things, including on iOS devices, depending on if you like to have root privileges and you root your smartphone or you're just using the default setting, um, there are plenty of options and plenty of opportunities for growth. Um, the downside will be that the size of smartphones are way bigger and larger than the phones before that, the mobile phones before that. Maybe we remember having those small ones back in the days that you were able to just hide in your hand. But now we're talking about big screens, we're talking about high resolution, we're talking about great cameras and processors, really powerful processors, and a lot of storage, also the ability to add external storage. So all those capabilities and the evolution of mobile devices has brought us to this moment, this great moment. And now we're going to talk more about the history of mobile devices. The first generation of smartphones were personal digital assistant called PDA, as we already mentioned that, and they include a phone functionality and sometimes a camera. In the late 90s and early 2000s, brands like Handspring, Nokia, Palm, and other different vendors, they dominated with operating system like Nokia's Symbian OS, the BlackBerry OS, or Palm OS. Those were really top notch back in the days, and those devices typically allowed users to capture and customize different data information through touch screen, handwriting recognition, or onboard keyboards, the regular keyboard that we used to use back in the days. And then RIM's BlackBerry device become uh, really known as crackberries because of their owner's addiction to constantly checking their email for new emails and stuff like that. So we remember those moments where BlackBerry was really popular. Everyone had one of those, and you were constantly typing, messaging, chatting, checking your emails, just um, taking advantage of all the new functionality that came with BlackBerry phone. And today's generation of different smartphones also serve to combine and include different functions that are related to portable players. We're talking about media players, digital cameras, um, mini video camera, and also sometimes, of course, the GPS navigation units. Modern smartphones usually include high resolution touchscreen as well. Um, we're talking about various browsers, Google Chrome, we're talking about Safari, we're talking about Firefox, the different types of different flavors of browsers that you can use in order to surf freely the internet. And it's really convenient for all the users that are trying to use those smart devices as their day-to-day um, computer, main computer. Sometimes people are working out of their smartphone all day, so it's really convenient, and you're holding your whole work and your whole world at that time in your palm, just in your hand, and it's really incredible. So Those devices can access usually mobile optimized websites, and they have high speed data access via, as we said, Wi-Fi networks and 3G, 4G, 5G uh, broadband. We're talking about the mobile 3G, 4G, and again, on Wi-Fi they can access 5G networks. And the most common mobile operating systems used by current smartphones are Apple's iOS, Google's Android. We're talking about Microsoft's Windows Phone and also BlackBerry OS. These systems are installed on various numerous models, sometimes from different manufacturers, and really defining feature of smartphone is that you can update the running operating system yourself by just downloading and installing the latest version that will be sent to you as a reminder. Um, they will actually require sometimes if there is a security fix, security patch that needs to be downloaded, installed, important stuff. The vendor will always remind you about that and make sure that you have updated your system. Stuff are starting to run slowly. Things are not working properly usually if you don't update stuff on time. Unfortunately, sometimes the internal storage is not enough. That's why the option to add external storage is there. So don't forget to do so and make sure you have good um, storage management software that will help you remain on the green line of stuff. You don't want to go red and maybe overload your storage. Maybe it's good to sanitize and sometimes have uh, some time to check different pictures, unnecessary files, stuff that could be erased, and you can free some storage out. It's really easy when you have a lot of storage, but keep in mind that it will get full really quickly. And the smartphone manufacturers are really increasing their release cycles. They're ramping up stuff, and new phones are having really fast processors and new features, and they're usually released uh, like blasting with a blasting rate. We're talking about every other month or maybe on quarterly basis you have a new phone coming up. It has all those cool functions and it's way better than the previous one. And even though you bought a new phone last year, this year your phone is not that great anymore. Stuff came out and they're way better. They have stronger processors, maybe they have better cameras, they have some cool new features in Outlook design. So keep that in mind. Um, don't be actually thinking that you can have the newest phone all the time because this is really hard to maintain. It's not impossible, but in my opinion, it's unnecessary to buy a new phone every other week or every other month. You can just stick to one that has all the needed functions. It will serve you good job and it will serve you well, and it will make your work really efficient and make sure you're keeping deadlines. You can talk to your loved ones, you can access internet, you can navigate yourself through the town really quickly, and make sure you're in a safe place and you can rely on such device. Now, newer smartphones are also offer different APIs, application programming interfaces, and SDKs, which will stand for software development kits, for third-party developers to, in order to build and distribute applications that would extend the features and the actual abilities of the specific smartphone. With each smartphone platform, there comes a host of supported applications, which in many cases are either free or you have to pay for them. And you can do so by just accessing and paying with card or in, using different payment methods in a virtual web application store, so mobile application store, where you can find all the verified applications. They're certified that they're not malicious most of the time. That's true. As soon as someone reports or it turns out that application has a malicious code or it's not entirely secure, does not follow best practice or requirements of the specific Play Store, this application is no longer supported and it won't be found in such legitimate app stores. Now, moving forward, we can say that the running challenge for mobile app developers is definitely to stay ahead of the curve, um, getting the sense of what and actually predicting what smartphone users want and making sure they write a custom tailored app that will serve the need of users, and so this app can become really popular. A lot of users can buy it, use it, so there's going to be a need of ongoing support and all that. And since about 2010, the rise of tablets, we're talking about examples here like iPad and the Samsung Galaxy Tab, um, and dedicated e-readers like electronic books like Kindle, Nook, and other similar ones have increased the actual need of um, for mobile developers and new features, new applications that should be created, developed in order to serve um, the needs of the user. So this is a really huge area of development, a lot of work here, and of course, big room for mistakes, bugs, different vulnerabilities, um, different leakages or weak spots that could be used and exploited by an attacker, depending. It could be ethical hacker or just malicious hacker trying to break in, trying to add some malicious code to a legitimate program, or maybe trying to infect multiple users by spreading, distributing uh, the malicious software as a legitimate app. So different type of attacks, different attack vectors. We're gonna be talking about that in the next videos, but now let's move forward and see what type of um, devices we have here and which are the weak spots of each device. So different types of mobile platforms. We're going to be starting with personal digital assistant, so-called PDA. It's called also a pocket computer, and those are handheld devices that usually combine elements of computing, internet, telephone, and fax, and networking in a single device. A usual PDA can function as a cellular phone, fax sender, personal organizer, trying to help you out with your daily schedule, and also web browser. The difference between this and the portable computer is that the PDA began as pen based using a stylus rather than a keyboard for all kinds of input. And this means that they also incorporated handwriting recognition features. Some PDA can also react to voice input by using different types of voice recognition and various other technologies. Today's PDAs are also available in keyboard version and the stylus version as well. The keyboard version is also called a datapad. Those devices have been named obsolete because of the rise in popularity of smartphones and tablets, of course. But these days they still retain presence and are still used by some users, which means that there is also need for updates on regular basis, just maintenance and support for the different OS, which include in this uh, PDA section, uh, they different types of Palm Pilot, Revo, Sony Klee, Hewlett Packard, Giordano, Hewlett Packard, and Cassiopeia, Compaq, iPac, Toshiba, Pocket PC. We're talking about all those types of PDAs that are part of the portable device assistant. So all those different flavors are actually part of the personal digital assistant family. And if you haven't used one of these, you can still try to find and test some of it. But unfortunately, I can say that smartphones have all those needed functionalities, and the use of PDA is just some type of personal preference, or maybe uh, it's required by a specific company or a specific process and stuff like that. But in my opinion, again, smartphones will include all those functionalities, and you don't need to hold uh, many different devices doing and being able to do the same thing. Moving forward, we're going to be looking, of course, at smartphones, something really popular these days, and it they actually combine the functions of mobile phones and handheld computer into the one simple box and one simple device. Smartphones allow users to access and record, store, manage different information also download, install applications, different programs, while also have the ability to use mobile phone in one simple device. For example, the smartphone could be a simple mobile phone, but having all the PDA functions integrated within it, which makes it really efficient and widely used, preferred by users. Example of a smartphone these days will include uh, Samsung, Apple. Um, we're talking about Samsung Galaxy, for example, or the iPhone, Apple's iPhone, Microsoft with Nokia Lumia, also Sony Ericsson, BlackBerry, Nokia. So many types, etc. Many types of different smartphone brands using some of the same technologies or same um, Linux based, for example, OSs, but adding different functionality or different elements, just tailored it to their vision and the design of their smartphones. Again, the fundamental functions here and the fundamental development process of those devices are leading to one simple path, and all those brands are following that path. But again, talking about different problems and things that you could actually exploit, um, we can see that greater number of functionality brings greater number of security issues and potential vulnerabilities. But we're gonna talk about that in a second. Moving forward, just looking into different types of mobile devices, we can say that tablet is the next big one, and tablets are actually uh, evolution of the notebook computer with touch screen, LCD screen, and this one could be utilized with fingerprints or with a stylus. So the handwriting with a stylus is digitized and can be converted to standard text, but it can also remain a handwritten text, which is pretty cool. And stylus can also be used to type on a pen-based key without uh, key layout, where the letter keys are arranged in a different manner with different than the QWERTY keyboard. Those cool tablet PCs may also offer the user a removable keyboard, and which makes it pretty cool and nice looking most of the time. The additional, and it brings, of course, it's brought as an additional input option, and it could be removed or it could be used with it. It makes it look a little more like a laptop, in my opinion, when you plug in the removable keyboard. But again, keep in mind that all those additional parts may be not that great as far as functionality, or may have a lot of different issues. So I prefer myself using either a laptop for using that cool keyboard or just a tablet without a keyboard. Um, so looking at those main types of mobile devices, we can say that they share more or less um, same functionality, and they have interconnected type of operating systems. With tablets here, we have for example, some of the same vendors just using different sub brands or different names of that specific type of mobile device. We're looking at iPad for Apple, the Surface for Microsoft or Surface Pro, Samsung Galaxy Tab, um, the Samsung Nexus, the Kindle Fire HD, for example, or Lenovo Yoga. It's just different brands here using the same basis. The vulnerabilities could be again caused by the App Store that they're using to download their applications from. On kernel level, there could be some vulnerabilities and some changes made in order to trick and make malicious processes invisible as shadow processes and make it almost impossible to find by a regular check, phone check. Even if you bring in your, let's say, iPad to Apple Store, they most likely won't be able to identify the problem since the malicious process is running like a shadow process and its changes are made on kernel level and everything looks just perfectly fine. There has to be a really deep dive in order to identify some of those malicious viruses running on your mobile device. Another problem, of course, would come from all the browsers that you would use and the attachments that you're downloading from there, maybe files, music, whatever it is. Um, there might be need for additional check before you download it to your mobile device. Since these days mobile devices are sharing similar functionality as our desktop, laptops, the thread in front of them are almost the same. So we can also talk about the physical type of stuff, meaning someone has access to your mobile device. They maybe find a way to bypass the security passcode, or they maybe guess it, or they maybe know it already. So they're able to open the device, install some stuff. The function, the security control of Apple, for example, does not allow you to download anything or install it without proper verification first. So that makes it really hard for an attacker, even with the access to the device, to install something on it. Um, Companies are actually coming up with newer and newer security protection mechanisms in order to prevent uh, different exfiltration of sensitive data or just spying on people by their, let's say, ex loved ones, or maybe by other competitors, or just people who want to know what they're doing right now, or people who want to um, take advantage of them, maybe reflect their um, plans on a person's life and trying to destroy their personal life or their future. There's some horrible stories, and people came to me and my team. Sometimes we have to deal with such problems, try to help regular people to get their life back and being able to get back on track with their day-to-day duties. It's really hard when you know that someone's trying to harm you and someone is trying to spy on you, and every move that you do using your mobile device, let's say, it could be fatal for your personal information and really sensitive data that would be leaked out, or maybe someone can spy on you 24/7. So be cautious, make sure you update regularly your devices. You don't download anything outside of the regulated and certified app stores. You shouldn't be doing the root thing on your personal device for everyday use. You can buy one for testing and try to root that one, but keep in mind that option, if you don't have root privileges, it's because it's safer for you. In most cases, all the virus needs is actually root privileges in order to hide itself perfectly and have access to everything, all the needed permissions. So make sure you're not actually um, unlocking your phone using passcode while someone is looking at you. Use different type of biometrical recognition, create sophisticated and complex passphrases, passcodes. Um, just make sure you have the option to erase everything remotely if your phone gets lost. There are numerous softwares that do that for you. Manage your passwords properly. Don't write them down in a text file on your laptop or smartphone or whatever. Keep everything secured and encrypted. Pay attention to small details, and you should be just fine. Thanks for watching this one, and now we're gonna be moving forward with some mobile platform hacking fundamentals. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.